think there is a misconcept by the public that a minister must be trained on that particular field too, because eventually what the minister in the ministry do is to drive a direction for the ministry. As long as that person has ability to learn about the technical thing and has a direction for the ministry, I think that is more important than just being a technical person to lead the ministry. You understand? Of course, if it is good that you are an engineer or a scientist that lead the ministry like this, but I think I have as much faith to an accountant or to anybody that lead this, as long as that person actually can learn quickly and also have a direction for that. So for me, I'm fortunate enough to lead a ministry where I know about the subjects, and hence easier for me to pick up in the first month. And a lot of terms and jargons and things and calculation and graphs, all that are not uncommon to me, and it's very familiar to me. So that makes me easier to adapt to my new job and to actually understand the thing. Looking for talents, the problem is that the skill level that is needed is high, but the pay is low.
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't you cannot get those talents at the market rate. So right now, what we are looking for is people who have relevant knowledge and yet are willing to do national service. A lot of people want to contribute, but the problem is that the specific skills that we need or specific things that we are looking for, not only that you are highly qualified or something, but the other attributes and also come into play. So it's very difficult to find those people. But I think in a month or two, maybe will be able to fill up. As a whole, in the ministry, I also find that one of the things about that civil service needs reform. Why? Because I found that in our current civil service, although many of them are good and professional, what happened is that they are not given an opportunity to build capacity in a particular field. For example, in the ministry, in the whole system, the civil service system, you have a lot of generalists. That means they go from one department to another department. Some of them actually has, let's say for example, they have a lot of interest in one group, one particular field, and then they went for a master in that field, and then when they come back, they're actually assigned to another ministry that do completely different things. So I found that because my ministry is a technical ministry, so a lot of things that we study needs to be in depth, and hence needs to be more than just a generalist. You need people with deep capacity, like in a particular subject, and hence it's difficult at this moment. So one of our plan is really to build capacity within the ministry and the specific areas, so that the government is not reliant on outside consultants. What happened right now is that if we are reliant on outside consultants to make policy decisions for us, what happens is that the people that execute it are not the one that actually come up with the plan. Then if you don't come out, you are not the one that actually think that it is going to work. It's an outside consultant that's paid millions and millions of ringgit, tell you what to do. Then do you think that you will do it passionately? You won't. So I think those are my real challenge, is to really, how do we now build capacity to come up with our own plan that is as calculated and by ourselves. So we want our civil service to be good. And in order for our civil service to be good, we cannot not spend money on training and development, keep on spending money on consultants. And you are not trusting them, that means, right? And people who are of skill, that means people who are talented, will not want to join civil service. Why? Because they join, they don't get to develop themselves. Those are some of my main challenges, really about talent. One of the things that happens in Malaysia is that only 8.6% of our research funding goes to experimental research. It means the research that is very near to the industry research. 8.6%. You look across in Singapore, you are talking about 48%. If you go to Japan, it's about 60%. All their research funding is close to, even Japan as a developed country, most of your research funding goes to the research where it can generate that is used by the industry. So our priority is the collaboration between industry and universities. Those fundings will get a priority in the ministry itself. That means when we have a certain amount of R&D funds, we will look into those areas where there is a collaboration between the industry and the thing. And then we are also looking into how do we create center of excellence for different industry. For the industry that is strategic to the economic growth of the country. We need to understand this, is that technology itself is just a fluff if it doesn't create a value for the society. So how does technology create value? It can only create value when technology are in the market. So two things that you can do. One is to make companies more productive through a change of technology. There's an increase of the productivity. The moment you increase firms' productivities, then you increase some of the pays of their salaries. Second is how do we commercialize new technology so that it creates a market, or there is a market to meet the market demand, that is business opportunities. So one of the reforms that we are doing in the future, next year in our research and development funding is that more than half of our research and development fundings has to go to demand-driven and industrial-driven research and development. This is so that we don't spend money on useless shocks and research. You spend money on what the market needs, and that can generate money and jobs for our economy. Everyone wants a pay increase, and technology is the answer. Problem is that our research and development is so disconnected at this moment. So I have already spoken in the parliament on why we need to do it and the direction of the ministry going forward for that. I have no stats that women are less inclined to science and technology. I think perhaps it's because I always see this as that there is no role model. So let's say, for example, right, when I was young, I would never thought myself that I can be a politician because there is no role model. I could not even imagine myself going to the university. Then suddenly, my aunt became the first female in our kampong to enter into university. Batu Anam. Batu Anam is a very, very small kampong where nobody goes to university, right? No women go to universities, and then my aunt became the first one, and then it inspired me. Hey, as a girl, I could go to university as well. I would not end up my life just by marrying somebody or things. I can go to the universities. So those are the moments that inspire me to do more. So I think it's the same as STEM, because you don't have role models, right? Even politics, because there are not many of people doing that. Women, that is women scientists or women like us in politics, some ministers, play a role not only as a minister but also as a role model for our girls to see that you can also do this. I hope by us being a minister or by high achieving engineers and scientists that become a female and become an ambassador of a female in STEM, then we will achieve more. So I now will accept some of the invites to get me to speak in engineers, female for engineering and science, STEM, all this I will go, because that I think is part of my role. And I think women or girls are as equally talented in STEM as men. There is no biological difference. The only difference is perhaps culture and maybe the psychological barrier that people think that you will not count as good as men. That is wrong. We can count as good as them, and we can excel in STEM.